invasion.
Yes.
It's a spicy boy.
2 weeks. We've got 2 episodes, and I'm going to say now we're going to blend between the two because it's going to be hard to remember where one ended. Also, like, important things have happened or got revealed because of the nature of this show. Things have already been revealed in episode 4 that happened at the end of episode 3, so it's just easier to kind of like blend them together.
Yeah. So, where we left off was Nick Fury rocking up at home.
Yes.
To my wife.
Yes.
Who is a Skrull lady.
And everyone was questioning, does he know she's a Skrull?
Yeah. We got the answer to that very quickly, that he did indeed know she was a Skrull.
Yep.
Through some flashbackiness, we saw how like she wooed him.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. There's just so much going on. We knew after episode 2 that they were working on a Super Skrull system.
Mm-hmm. Now,
there were arguments on the internet about, is Rhodey a Skrull? Isn't Rhodey a Skrull, after firing Nick Fury and calling him Nick instead of calling him Fury, and it's chaos.
So this is where like things are gonna get messy talking about this because it's 2 episodes and the nature of the show. Like,
yeah, the show itself is messy.
It was in episode 3, like we talked about, Nick Fury got wooed by the Skrull. Episode 3 makes you believe, oh, this was kind of just like they fell for each other. Obviously she had a human form. Kind of made, you could see like how it could have happened. You're like, yeah. I feel like episode 4 just like that she manipulated the shit out of him. Because the way she describes the fact that like she purposefully picked the visual that she wanted to go for in order to make him let his guard down so she could infiltrate. Like, it all just comes down to like, was it really that was this really true love, or was she just always trying to just scam him? Was she playing the long game?
Some of the writing in this show is genuinely some of the best writing we've seen from Marvel.
It's been really good.
And unfortunately, that seems to be like a hot take that a lot of people disagree with. While I don't want to give it too much time, it seems like people have decided they're going to hate this show. Because to me, at least, it doesn't feel like a lot of people are giving it a fair shake.
I think people... do you know what I think is happening? It's the same thing that happened with WandaVision, which was everyone was like, oh, this is weird. This is like, it keeps changing its thing every episode. Like, oh, this is shit. And then now down the line, people are like, oh shit, WandaVision was actually really fucking good. And it's the same with this. Like, people are like, this makes no sense. I'm too confused. Like, people are acting weird. This isn't Nick Fury acting. Like, he's not acting. This isn't the Marvel that I know. Like,
yeah.
And they're just scrapping it off when it's like, this is precisely the sort of show where like you need to see it through and you will get answers. Like, we've had answers across 2 episodes for things that we were questioning after episode 2.
Yeah, 100%.
Because bringing up the point of view with like the discussion that happened around Rhodey, I saw a thing that like people were like, oh, Nick Fury says like no one calls him Nick, and that's how in Captain Marvel. So that's how like you knew, and then everyone's like, well, Rhodey called him Nick, so Rhodey's a Skrull. You weren't fully convinced, and I think, well, I know where this comes from. It's because there's other points in films where actors, the characters use Nick.
Called him Nick, yeah. The moment I realised that Rhodey was definitely a Skrull was when they broke into your man's house and he kicked the door in and went, no one calls me Nick. I was like, okay, cool, yeah, Rhodey's a Skrull then.
Yeah, so there was that. But also, like, do you know what I think? Them choosing to have like the Nick thing be like his tell of like no one calls me Nick. is a purposeful thing because, like you did, they know they've used it. They know they've used it in other films. Like he's been referred to as Nick by like Tony Stark and I think
Cap did once, I
Cap.
think.
Yeah, it's like they know that's happened. So like they've done it on purpose. I think purely to like what happened with you, where like you doubted that, like you started doubting the reasoning of like, oh, he is a Skrull. Like, well, no, maybe not. Maybe it's just the way it's written. But like you said, the whole thing about he kicked the door and he's like, and no one calls me Nick. And then at the end of episode 3, um, the phone call that his wife, I'm putting
Yeah.
like she gets, everyone immediately was like, that sounds like Rhodey.
Yeah.
That was Rhodey's voice. And in that point, it's like, okay, well, Rhodey's a Skrull. Now, when did Rhodey become a Skrull?
Kevin Feeger's confirmed he's been that way for a while.
Okay, I thought you were about to say like, so my thought.
It's a little game now where people need to go back and work out. Do you want to know exactly when he became a Skrull? I can tell you exactly when. No, I can't tell you what film, but I can tell you the point you're looking for. The second Rhodey starts giving a fuck about the government side of his job. The
Yes,
moment he pivots from just being an army man to doing more government stuff, that's when he became a Skrull. Right around there.
I think it's
Although, would it not be fucking hilarious if they revealed that actually he's been a Skrull since Iron Man 2 and then Terrence Howard comes back to be Rhodey again?
stop.
Would that not be comedy though?
Everyone would
They
hate.
won't do that. They won't do that purely because Terrence Howard's lost his fucking mind
Yeah,
and think maths works differently. But that would be comedy.
it would be wild if they did that. But I, my guess is it's after Civil War.
It will be after Captain Marvel at least.
It be well, Captain Marvel was.
I mean, in
Um,
release order, not chronological
oh,
order.
I was gonna say chronologically, yeah. Well, technically, yes, it would be after Cap. um, no, I think it's after he got injured, and I can't. It was either during the blip when Nick Fury's gone, and it like that was kind of like where the government stuff started taking over for Rhodey. But I think it's maybe more around like Iron Man 3 when he was becoming War Machine and more like government army based, wasn't he? Like he was more like fighting for their side.
Okay, so since Captain Marvel came out,
Uh-huh.
we've had Avengers Endgame, Far From Home. Captain Marvel didn't come out after Infinity War, did it?
Yeah, because it came out to explain so she could rock up in Endgame.
Do you ever just get like a completely different version of events in your head? Okay, what's that?
Yeah, happens a
When
lot.
did Rhodey?
He got
Oh, I
injured in
don't.
Civil
No,
War.
I'm trying. I'm trying to work out when he started working directly in the government.
I don't know if it ever was, because basically ever since he became War Machine, he's played a more military role. And then I think I would guess it was after Civil War.
Yeah, because
He
he was Team Iron Man.
Yeah, because he was team military and government essentially.
Yeah.
Then he got injured, and then there's I can't remember which film it is, but there's a thing where it's like he's walking fine now, and Tony's like, oh, like the tech's helping you then. Like that's the point where like you could then easily fake a switch. Like maybe it wasn't tech that healed him. Maybe a Skrull took over and a Skrull was just walking normally, and it was like, oh, he's healed. Um.
So, Captain America: Civil War.
Mhm.
Doctor Strange came out, and Doctor Strange, before he had his crash, there was a reference to Rhodey's accident.
Yeah.
Then we have Spider-Man: Homecoming. Oh wait, no, that's not the right one. I'm thinking of
I know.
Far From Home. So we know Nick's a Skrull in Far From Home, which is after Endgame. I'm gonna say, did Rhodey get dusted?
I don't
No,
think he
he didn't.
did.
No, he didn't.
I think it's happened in the blip.
Yeah, once Nick Fury's gone.
Nick Fury's gone. Um, so Talos did the call, didn't he? Or he put the call out for more of them to rock up.
Yeah,
Gravix was making moves.
it was right around then.
It's somewhere in the blip where Rhodey's had to step into a more like government facing superhero position.
Yeah, it is definitely somewhere between Civil War and Infinity War.
Hmm.
Civil War is probably the earliest it could have happened.
Yeah, I
And
think
Infinity
maybe
War is the
blip.
latest it could have happened. The problem is he doesn't make any appearances
Hmm.
between Civil War and Infinity War for
I
us to notice any difference.
Yeah, I think infinite blip timeline like around then makes the most sense. But wild that like we people were calling it obviously after episode 2, but there was a bit of unsure like what's going on. And then we've had more revealed in episode 4 now about who is Rhodey. It's some female Skrull.
Yeah, that was the craziest bit to me. Because like when we saw them in the shower, obviously you can see it's a female. Then they put the towel on. I'm like, oh, who's this gonna be?
Yeah,
And then it's Rhodey. I'm like, oh, that really has
but
thrown me off.
no, things that I noticed was like the way she'd got out the shower and then like the way that she like wiped the mirror like out of frustration and turned to
Wipe,
Rhodey like
wipe, wipe it.
one very smart way to hide VFX and transitions.
Mm-hmm.
Two, it kind of gave the vibe of like they don't want to be Rhodey,
No.
and it's like begrudgingly having to like still be in this skin that they probably don't want to be in. Um, but I feel like in episode 4 they did a very like they've been very clever with it. Now that we know as the viewer that Rhodey came like even though it's same actor Don Cheadle, like he did it in a way that like it didn't feel like Rhodey. Like there was
Yeah.
something felt off about how they like the persona of how they were being. And
It,
it's like
it felt it felt like it was still Rhodey, but it did feel different. And it was like similar enough that you're like, oh, I can see why people are falling for this,
mm,
but different enough that you're there like, oh, you evil fuck.
yeah, you're like this
Perfect
doesn't feel
balance.
like how like the way Rhodey would handle things. Um then there's like the bit that's wild to me, right, is at the end like we're jumping around, but at the end of episode 4 with the whole like convoy and everything's fucking popping off, like shit's going down, and he's just sat there in the car chilling. Like, surely one of the American like Secret Service would be like, "Excuse me, Colonel, can you put on the War Machine suit and help us
Yeah.
out?" Like, why is no one questioning the fact that he's just chilling there, just in the car? Unless,
The
like,
real questions.
I wonder if like the scroll, whether the War Machine suit needs to be I don't know if them shape changing won't match their DNA, right? Maybe there's some like.
As far as I know, scrolls can convince DNA scanners.
Oh, okay. I was wondering if there's like
Um,
some way that the Iron Man suit wouldn't work, but I
the
suppose it.
only logical reason I can give for it would be they're there on a political mission.
Yeah, so he's not
Would
got it.
would another country let a foreign government official bring essentially a WMD into the country? Probably not.
No, and
And if you're trying to scoot under the radar as like, oh, I'm behaving as this person
yeah,
would, Rhodey wouldn't rock up to Britain with the War Machine suit because it sends the wrong message.
yeah, I think you're right along that, and in the sense of I wonder if, as he fake Rhodey has lent more into this political position, maybe it's like he doesn't really get the suit out anymore. No one probably expects him to because he's in a different place now. It's like, oh, if there's a matter like world-ending matter, like he'll rock it out. But the military probably scared that it might end up in the wrong hands, or
You
like
can't be letting a government official cut about blowing shit
yeah.
up.
So they probably keep it well under lock and key. So,
Yeah.
but it was just funny seeing him sat there. I'm trying to think what else went. Oh, we obviously episode 3 we saw the meeting happen between Talos and
Gravix.
Gravix. uh, was not expecting Talos to just stab his hand with a knife.
Talos is such a badass.
Like when he wants to be, and he's not trying to like dance around hurting people. Like he just like if he just got on with it, he could have got this over so much quicker.
Do you know what it's giving? It's giving like grizzled old James Bond who's been like forced back into a situation he doesn't want to be in, and you just see them flashes of how dangerous he actually is.
Yeah, and he's like, we don't like. Surely there's another way around this or whatever. But we also in episode 3 we saw like Gravix took that meeting of officials that we'd seen in episode 2, brought them to his little base and was like, yeah, we're going to become super Skrulls. I was like, oh, okay, they're all going to get like 1 power each. Knowing that we'd seen in the trailer Gravix has the Groot arm, I was like, okay, well, Gravix gets Groot arm. Interesting to see what the others get. Wasn't expecting him to also have the heat.
Extremis, yeah.
Yeah. And he just like gets stabbed in the hand and then he just rips his hand out and he heals.
That was brutal.
Something I saw someone make a point is like the heat extremis, yes, you get healing factor, you don't get no pain. And that man just like stone,
like
yeah, that man was just stone facing everything, and we saw more of that in episode 4.
You've got to remember he was a child soldier.
Well, yeah,
like I'm not saying
he's
what
an
he's
alien.
doing is right at all. I'm not saying what he's doing is right at all, but like he's gonna have to be a pretty tough motherfucker to have got through what he's got through already in his life.
Yeah, faced war, come to another planet. So yeah, it'd be interesting. That mean the fact that he's got the powers makes me believe then all the that little council of Skrulls, they must all have them in some capacity.
No.
No, you think
My
just him?
thought process is everyone gets one, apart from him.
Well, yeah. Yeah. I'm not thinking they all have multiple, but I mean, is in the sense of like they've all now become Super Skrulls.
I'd imagine so.
Which is wild because that's about like 5 of them.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's gonna get spicy.
Now, episode 3 at the end.
Yeah.
We obviously Gaia kind of revealed herself as the mole by helping her dad, which that was wild as well.
Well, that was really interesting because like when he made the phone call in the car, I was like, okay, this is bait. Don't fall for the bait.
Yeah.
She fell for the bait, and I was like, oh shit, it's gonna go bad. Then he calls her up to get more information so they can stop the attack. And then she like goes down like, oh, she's definitely gonna get caught doing this. And then she just attacks the guards. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. She's just gonna do that and escape. Then we're fine. And then Gravix just cuts her off at the exit. I was like, oh shit.
So I saw a thing online after that episode where it was like, someone's like, I don't believe she's dead. There was a period, like, there was enough time where maybe she went and zapped herself. So this person was on the field, like, she ran and made herself into a Super Skrull, knowing that she probably would get cut off and not make it out alive. Episode 4 obviously revealed that was the case.
Which is just fucking genius.
Yeah. And because I saw some people like, oh, she's just faking it. Like she turned herself into a Skrull, so he thinks. I don't think that. I think it genuinely was like she died for a moment, but then like the power healed her. I also like I thought it was interesting the fact that she's so like instinctually in that human skin that even when she came back to life, she immediately, without like even a chance to think, her body reverted back into human form. But what I thought was wild is like, how has Gravix not noticed that like the bike and the body are gone? Like, has no one did he not tell anyone to go clear up a body? Did he just leave it there?
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't that the main exit out. Like, surely someone would have realized, hang on, there's no body here anymore. Interesting though that she's got, I think, just the 1 power, I'm guessing.
We've only been confirmed it's the one. I imagine it is only the one. My thought process would be you have to go and undergo the process every time, and the way they're going to prove that Gravix is so much more of a threat is that he managed to like Giga Chad that 4 times to get all 4 powers.
Yeah, or
Whereas
it's like an
most Skrulls can
intensity
only take
thing.
1.
And if you
Yeah.
put like 4, it's just wild. But yeah, I thought it was cool. But then I also very interesting episode 4 that you immediately think, oh, okay, she's gonna team up with her dad then. And then she's like, nah, dad, your idea sucks. See you later.
That was really interesting. She goes to meet her dad, and she's like, "Okay, I don't agree with his plan. What's your plan?" And then she's like, "No, that's a shit plan as well. Why do you all have shit plans? Fine, I'll do it myself."
Yeah, fuck you, I'm off on my own. And he's
Yeah.
like, oh, wait, this is not how I expected it to go. Oh, something in episode 3, I thought it was really funny how we had like Fury and Talos were like an old married couple. That whole episode.
Yes.
The
I
whole like
really
coming
enjoyed
to
that.
the pub to meet him, and he was just like, Talos, I need your help. Like he made him say it. And then the whole thing in the car of like they were literally Talos forgot what they were doing, and they were just bickering about who helped who get into, like, Fury only got to the position he did because of Talos, and it's like, oh, I helped you get to it. It was a very
I gave you
funny
somewhere to
dynamic.
fucking live.
Yeah. It was a very interesting dynamic. And now that we've seen that, like, Fury's wife, who actually was trying to scam him, Talos and Fury were more of a married couple than his
Well, it's
actual wife.
interesting because they clearly do care about each other to some level.
Well, I think Fury cared for her, but I think he now feels like she was just playing him the whole time.
I think the kind of mutual understanding is we both care for each other. And when they both shot and deliberately missed,
Well, yeah.
that was them killing their care for one another. So now they're just strangers again, as stupid as that sounds.
Well, yeah, that's
So it's like
them ending
you get
things.
one,
Yeah.
and now they're back to just being strangers. But I do think they both genuinely cared for each other,
Yeah.
even if it wasn't as husband and wife.
Yeah. I'm trying to think what else went down. Obviously, the whole like, I saw an interesting point someone made on for episode 4 about like, Gravis is like, do it loud and big like the Russians. Russians wouldn't do that. KGB just poison people. They do it quietly. Like, that kind of shows that Gravix doesn't actually really understand how some of these races do things.
Yeah.
He's just like, all he's thinking is like, make them know it's Russia, so then they think, oh, we'll attack Russia. He's just trying to cause a war. But like,
remember, just Russian.
yeah. I really liked, sad as it was, I really enjoyed the way they did like the end of Talos. Like him getting shot and being stuck in like the process of him dying was him losing control of staying human. And like they I swear the whole effects budget probably just got blown on that one scene. Because like for them to do that like merge of him losing his shapeshift like partly was really well done. Like they made sure that didn't look janky at all. So props to the production VFX for that.
At what point did you realize it was Gravix helping Talos up?
As he was walking him over, I was like, this doesn't feel right.
There was a moment before he said, "Let me help you," where there was like silence for like just what felt like a beat too long, and I was like, "Fuck." You know, like
Yeah.
when like how like shots have like timings and that, and even if you don't count
Mhm.
out, you know when something lingers.
Yeah.
That silence just lingered like a second too long, and I was like, "Don't like this." Alarm bells.
Yeah, I think there was like for me, it was like a shot. I feel like there was a shot over the shoulder of them, like like walking him, and I was like, this doesn't feel right. That like he's getting him over. Like Fury was gonna come back for him, and then it kind of clicked that I was like, why would the guy that freaked out about him being an alien now be happy to like, more than happy to help him? And then yeah, the face shot on Gravix was brutal, and the way that he just like healed from it as well.
A panic in Fury's face when he saw him heal from that as well.
Yeah, like the
And that's the thing.
realization.
Ravix could have avoided getting shot. He
Mhm.
deliberately let Fury shoot him just so Fury knew what he was dealing with.
Oh yeah, he was like, I'm gonna let Fury shoot me, so he knows that like shooting me in the face ain't gonna do anything. And because Fury knows what that power is and where it came from, and like he's seen what it did to like like he's seen how it affected humans that had it. His brain will have gone, ah shit, now we've got an alien with that power who's stronger and more powerful. Like, this ain't good. Like all that clicking of like, oh fuck, they've leveled up. Um I felt so it felt so sad that he had to leave Talos's body.
You can tell he was debating it because he really did not want to leave his best friend's body behind like that.
Yeah.
Which added so much to the brutality of the scene.
It was such a tough like, and then it just ended, and I'm like, what? I think next episode is the suit up scene, like Fury's suit up scene. He has lost. He's lost his two close allies that we started with. Hill's gone. Also, the thing that he knows Rhodey's a Skrull. He's gone to see him. The whole like playing the whiskey is just him double checking things. Like that isn't his favorite drink. He's getting hit like, and then he jokes about nanotech, but there is actually nanotech in it. The that whole like kind of scene of him like testing him out.
Yeah. Do you know what? It felt like boxers.
Yes.
Like feeling each other out.
But then Rhodey to go, oh well, you try and do anything. I have like the biggest like gotcha card of like, oh look, I know this footage isn't real. The US government would know that this footage, like, there's enough people that know this isn't real and would keep it under wraps. But like, yeah, this just ruins and like would destroy Fury. Which is such like smart fucking card to have. But yeah, it's all ended. Fury's lost everyone. Obviously, he's gonna get help off Gaia, but I think there's gonna be a bit of like, she's gonna be upset her dad's dead. But also, just be like, well, this was his stupid plan, didn't work.
He's gonna go scorched earth, and Fury's gonna have to rein her in.
I think you're right. I think he's gonna like she's gonna be the best chance of beating Gravix because she's Super Skrull now. But then yeah, she's gonna go too far, and he's gonna have to try and rein her in. Otherwise,
that's exactly that.
The government and the world's just gonna see all Skrulls as this threat. But yeah, I think we get this suit up. I think we get the suit up scene. It's gonna be interesting to see how he reveals and if we get at the end like the real Rhodey back.
Well, we can only assume that in that room we've seen a couple of times with everyone on the machines that Rhodey's in there somewhere.
Yeah. I would.
But yeah, the big thing is going to be finding out just how long Rhodey's been out. Does this Rhodey know that Tony's dead?
Oh shit. I didn't even think of that. Oh, that's brutal if. Oh. What if? I don't think we're gonna get this. There's not enough. There's only 2 episodes left, right?
Yes.
6. So, I think we're gonna get right at the end. Real Rhodey's like freed, and it'll be revealed like how long it's been. Like, what was the last thing he remembers? And everyone's gonna be like, "Holy shit!" But I don't think I'd like like a moment of like Rhodey goes back to his office, or whatever, and he has like a video from Tony that fake Rhodey never gave a shit about, but like he watches it as like his final, like Tony's final words to Rhodey or something, and that's our way of getting RDJ back just for for a moment as Tony Stark. But I don't think we'll get that. I love it, but I don't think we will. It's going to be interesting though to see how this, because right, the theory like this has got to wrap up with Gravix getting stopped.
One would think.
So we got 2 episodes to do that in. The pacing's been good so far.
It has. I am slightly concerned that 2 episodes isn't enough to wrap it up, though.
I think next episode will be suit up from Fury. There's going to be a big clash or big reveal of like Skrulls are here. And some of those like ones in official positions will get like made. And then I think it'll only be in the last episode that like the clash between Gravix and Fury happens.
Yeah. We know Fury is in the Marvels.
Yes.
I'm still not convinced that Fury survives this, though.
Have you seen the theory that there might be 2 Furies?
What, even in this show?
Yeah.
Oh.
There's a theory that one of the Furies we've been seeing is Talos's wife, and she never actually died. And she's been helping Fury like personally.
Interesting.
Because there's a few times of like how Fury and Talos have interacted is almost like a husband and wife interacting. I think it's a far-fetched theory, but it could explain these kind of like 2 sides we've been seeing of Fury a little bit.
You know what else I will say quickly, completely irrelevant to the story?
Go on.
The de-aging of Samuel L. Jackson for these scenes in the past has been phenomenal.
Yes. There was the one in this episode 4 where they were in that restaurant.
What, in 2012?
Yeah, it was meant to be like New York. I felt was a little. There was. I don't know what it was about it. Maybe it was just the lighting and the way the scene was. Something kind of made it feel. It definitely like it looked good and he looked de-aged, but it kind of didn't match with like maybe it's just my memory of what he looked like in the 2012 like in Avengers was. Maybe that's just off. But like in my head, I was like, I don't quite look like what I remember 2012 Samuel Jackson looking like. But then maybe that was just me.
I didn't notice anything like that personally, but I mean, it doesn't mean that it wasn't there.
It might have just been like very small little details. But no, overall, like their de-aging has been great. They've done a really good job with that. It doesn't surprise me though. They've got all that deep fake stuff from Lucasfilms.
I mean, it looked good in Captain Marvel when they did it as well.
Yeah, true. It did.
So it's going to be an interesting one for sure to see how this wraps up.
It is. I still think there's going to be another big twist of someone.
Yeah, I think there's something that's not even on our radar that's going to end up blowing our minds.
Yeah, I agree.
Right.